Well, there you go. It's one big long straight. It's running a clockwise direction, and really it's not that tricky. You've got a very fast straight, sort of 270 odd k's into a tight right-hander. Watch for the first corner on the first lap. It's very wide straight into a little bottleneck. A right and a left, another right and a left, and really another right and a left. The most important corner of all is the right-hander, the last right-hander you see onto the straight, because a good entrance into that, and more especially a good exit, gives you a good straight line speed. There's the grid positions. Pole position, Greg Murphy from Wayne Gardner. Second row of the grid, Mark Scaife from Glenn Seaton. Third row of the grid, Peter Brock from Alan Jones. Fourth row, Tony Longhurst, Mark Larkham. Fifth row of the grid, Stephen Richards from Russell Ingall. Sixth row, John Faulkner from Larry Perkins. Seventh row, John Bell from Dick Johnson. They went like that. Row 8, Mark Paul from Steve Reed. Row 9, Steve Ellery from Chris Schmurden. Row 10, John Trimble from Kevin Hefferman. Row 11, Terry Finnegan from Darren Hossack. Row 12, Sean Walker and Malcolm Stenican. Row 13, unlucky for some, Danny Osborne and Ian Palmer. And the last row, Wayne Russell and Paul Romano. I wouldn't like to be stuck up the back of that lot.
And it'd certainly be tough going. Well, a couple of big things coming out of that Shell Helix grid, Barry. One is that Greg Murphy, in his debut Shell Australian Touring Car drive on pole, and the other big thing is that John Bowe and Dick Johnson back in 13th and 14th. Well, exactly that. You know, it's amazing how things can turn around. They were talking last week in Albert Park how good the Dunlops were, and really when you see them right down the pan there, I would say that the tyre today would be the Yokohama. You look there, there's Wayne Gardner's on Yokohamas. Well, let's take this opportunity to go down trackside. Here's Mark Osler.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Barry. I've just been talking to the Dunlop and Bridgestone tyre engineers. The track temperature down here is about 26 degrees. They reckon that's way too cool. They've probably gone a bit too hard on their compound. So watch these guys on Bridgestone, Seaton, Brock and Murphy. They'll just be taking it pretty easy in these opening 2 or 3 laps to try and get the tyres up the temperature. Should be fascinating. Yeah, I was talking to a lot of the Bridgestone runners, and they were saying that it takes unbelievably sort of 4 or 5 laps to get the front tyres to come in. When I say come in, to get up to temperature. So keep your eyes open. It should be quite a lot of fun for the first 2 or 3 laps. Well, it certainly is a very colourful grid for the opening round of the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. There's AJ Alan Jones sitting on the grid in his Komatsu Falcon. We are set for a start. Watch the lights change from red to green. We are away, and the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship is underway. It's Gardner. Wayne Gardner gets away to a terrific start. So too did Glenn Seaton. Yes, Seaton down the outside. Now look at this. Oh, I'd say it's going to be Seaton. Seaton has got a tremendous run on the outside. Murphy's got the inside run into this tight hairpin, or this tight right-hander. Oh, look at this lot. Look at the back. Oh, boy, that's Mark Larkham got off there. And one of the Shell Helix cars, by the looks of it, too. That looked like Dick Johnson caught up in that. I think it's Johnny Bowe, I'm not sure. But, oh, that's it's so sad, you know. Everybody, no, it's DJ, you're right. It's... you would think everybody would say, we've got to take it easy on the first corner, but the old adrenaline rush gets the best of you, and Greg Murphy looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. So it's Greg Murphy has already pulled out a couple of car lengths over the Coca-Cola Commodore of Wayne Gardner. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix replay of that first corner incident. There's Johnson spinning, top right-hand corner of your screen. It looked like Mark Larkham, Stevie Richards, and there goes Chris Smurden just avoiding contact around the outside. Poor old Mark Larkham doesn't get a lot of luck, does he? No chance at all. Greg Murphy has got quite a good gap over Gardner at the moment. Then we go back to the Ford Credit Falcon of Glenn Seaton. Mark Scaife back in 4th as Gardner smokes it up. But we have a great look here at the young gun, Greg Murphy, filling some very big shoes of Craig Lowndes from last year. And if you can follow his track record so far, it's pretty impressive. Oh, incredible. I was talking to him earlier on, and he was saying that, you know, I've got a hard act to follow, but when you look at how he did in the latter part of last season and so far this year, he hasn't done too bad, has he, really? Finishing 3rd in last year's Super Touring Championship. Now running in the V8 Supercar category. Greg Murphy, the young guy from Hastings in New Zealand, now resides in Melbourne. Gardner locking up the inside right there. It'd be nice for Gardner to get a good result, because he copped a lot of shrapnel last week after Albert Park, and it's really unfair because it was not his fault, and he really got the blame for it, and it's not nice. Gardner's overdue for some good luck. Let's have another look at the first corner incident. Oh, inside Dick Johnson's car, the Shell Helix in-car camera. Maybe a little bit of a tap up the backside. Turned him round, and gee, he was very, very lucky there, Barry, to avoid contact.
Exactly that. You know, it's hard to tell what goes on there because it was so close, but you'd have to say that someone gave him a little nudge, wouldn't you?
Well, at the moment, Greg Murphy is running away from it. That's third place. Glenn Seaton in the Ford Credit Falcon at the moment. The first of 3 races here at the Calder Park Raceway.
If you were, Mark was saying that that the tyre boys were worried and the Bridgestone and Yokohama guys were worried, well, because of getting the tyres up to temperature. Then even more so with the Dunlops, because oh, that's Steve Ellery down there. Oh, a little bit of action.
Well, while Stephen Ellery's sitting there, we've got a man on the spot. Here's Mark Osler.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. It's a bit of damage to the front here, Steve. You got a moment to talk? No, it looks like he's too busy in there. They should be out of here fairly quickly, hopefully, but there's a lot of damage. That's a one-piece spoiler section. They're getting out the magic tape to try and strap it onto the front of the car, but it just shows there's a little tap in traffic and you can do some major damage to the aerodynamics of these big V8 supercars.
What you mean, Mark, it was a one-piece spoiler.
Yeah, not much left of it now, Stephen Ellery.
That wasn't the start that Steve Ellery was looking for. He's had some bad luck already this weekend. He blew a head gasket in free practice a couple of days ago, so luck not going his way.
Oh, and AJ making up a little bit of ground now.
So at the moment, it's Greg Murphy who leads the way from Wayne Gardner. There's the gap first to second. There's third. In Glenn Seaton, fourth is Mark Scaife, and Alan Jones back in 5th position at the moment. But it's the mobile HRT Commodore of Greg Murphy who leads the way. Quite a commanding lead there as well. That shot illustrated it well.
Yeah, he has, but looking at the last lap, Gardner was fractionally quicker than Murphy. So this is on board with Glenn Seaton. Now, just have a look. If you reckon it ain't hard driving one of these things, just get a load of this. See, it's a fight all the way. Now watch down into this. Bang, bang, that's more or less flat out. Now down into this is the most important corner on the circuit. When you come through this section, rather, you go right and then left, round this, and then you go into this right-hand, and now you just listen the way it listen. Just feather. Now from here, you know, prior to just getting the power on, it's so vitally important, because if you come out of there sort of 5k slow, you end up at the end of the straight, you know, to kind of 10 or 12 k's down there. You have a listen when he gets on the brakes. See the locking up a wheel there.
Great pictures from the Ford Credit Falcon of Glenn Seaton, and Barry, it appears as though he's starting to bridge that gap between himself and Gardner.
Well, he is. He was saying that, you know, he was so surprised how the tyres took a lot longer to heat up than ever before. And don't forget, Gardner's on Yokohamas and Seaton's on Bridgestone, so they're you know, obviously very different. And now you're just seeing the Bridgestone come into its own. Mind you, having said that, Murphy's on Bridgestones and he's done a runner.
Gardner with equally his best qualifying position in his own race team under Wayne Gardner Racing. He qualified second, I think it was back in '94, and today qualifying second for this first of 3 races. Let's go down to the pits. Here's Mark Osler.
Yeah, Lee, we're just here with Kevin and Heffen in the price attack Commodore. He's just fired it up. The duck is with it. Get the engine going again. Only a quick stop, and a bit of a disappointment for the privateer. Doing it hard is Kevin Heffernan, so that's not going to help his chances any. Coming out with a lot of work to do in the price attack Commodore.
Good looking car though.
It's a beautiful looking car.
I bet the paint guys that did that wouldn't like to have to do it again overnight, would they?
Given strict instructions not to bend it. Here's your race leader, car 15, the mobile Commodore of Greg Murphy. His debut Shell Australian Touring Car Drive, and he's doing it very well at the moment. He's got quite a handy little buffer back to Wayne Gardner, who still sits in second position.
Yeah, top 6 at the moment. He's Murphy from Gardner, Seaton, Scaife, Jones, Brock. Well, top 6, Ingle, Perkins, Longhurst and John Bow back in 10th.
It's good to see John Bow working his way up into the top 10. We've got a good battle on. Look towards the top of your screen there, Mark Scaife and Alan Jones. Here goes Jones having a look up the inside. He's a little too far back at the minute though. Scaife in the Coopers and Lybrand Commodore. Lost it up there.
That's a good little mix. Whoa, go for it, AJ. Good little mix there, because as far as AJ is concerned, he's definitely not... wasn't at the back of the queue when they handed out Bravery, and as far as Mark Scaife is concerned, he's not too worried about having a little nudge here and there, so it should be quite a laugh to see him get head together.
Great to see AJ with some sponsorship on that car with the Komatsu signage on it, because not so long ago he was doing it tough for some sponsorship.
That's true. It'd be interesting to see down the straight, actually, between Scaife's car and AJ's, because although Scaife was saying that his car isn't quick, and we shall see now. Watch this.
Runs a little bit wide there.
Yeah, just be interesting. Well, it's not that slowly, is it?
He was saying that he thought he was about 3 or 4 kilometres slower than everybody else, but he's held his own there against Allen, didn't he?
Well, they came out much of a muchness acceleration-wise out of the right-hander, and it didn't look as if AJ had sort of anything on top speed.
Order still remains the same. It's Greg Murphy, Wayne Gardner, Glenn Seaton, and here's the battle for 4th and 5th. It's a beauty. Mark Scaife is holding on. He's forcing off the challenge from Alan Jones in the Komatsu Falcon, sitting back in 5th position at the moment, really hassling Scaife big time.
I tell you, it makes my day when you see AJ when he's got the needle. You know, when AJ really gets the eyes on, and he can certainly put it together, there's no doubt whatsoever. And you see at the end of last season at Bathurst, and look at him having a little go now. He's definitely a good runner, AJ.
This could be the one if Alan Jones can...
Now, but look at that. You see Scaife's thing, that ain't slow. You look at Scaife's thing's pulling away down the straight.
Got a very good exit out of that bottom corner. Here goes Alan Jones, as he's done in the past few laps. Has a look up the inside of Scaife. And Scaife has been running a little wide in this one. He likes a wider line. AJ tucks it on the inside. Here's a go. Jones right up the back of Scaife. Fantastic stuff. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. It's Mark Scaife in the Coopers and Lybrand Commodore, the Komatsu Falcon of Alan Jones, all over the back of him.
Yeah, it's could get a bit nasty, I reckon, if AJ where the bottom corner, the bottom right-hander that you were just talking about, that looks like the place where AJ's going to go if he can do it. Now you watch coming out onto the straight again. It seems as if Mark's thing pulls away on the initial grunt out of it, and then maybe runs out of breath a little bit. Look at that. What's that? Sort of 3 or 4 metres. Now watch. See, Scaife's thing's definitely accelerating away there, and it gets to the midpoint, and it looks like AJ starts to make a bit of ground there, but then it seems to run out of breath there because they're not on the brakes yet. On the brakes now.
Alan Jones locks it up. Looking for an inside option there on Mark Scaife. This is where they came close in the previous lap. Scaife's been doing very, very well to hold off the challenge from Alan Jones. Jones is really giving him a hard time. It's great racing here at Calder Park Raceway, the opening round of the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Here's the Shell Helix race score for you. Greg Murphy still leads the way from Wayne Gardner, Glenn Seaton in 3rd, and the battle continues between Scaife and Jones.
Pulled a little bit on AJ, and well, we'll have to wait and see, but you see, Seaton hasn't made any ground on Gardner. That was funny. Earlier on, he was saying that he was making ground, which he was, and now let's have a look at the lap times. Lap time-wise, Gardner is lapping 3/10 a lap quicker than Seaton at the moment.
Having a look in that high shot, I just got a quick glimpse of one of the Castrol Commodores. It looked like Larry Perkins back in 7th position, so that's a good effort by Larry to come up.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the Dunlops perform later on in the race. They have a hard compound tyre. It's not the best compound they've got. It's the only one at the moment. And Dunlops have done a great job over the winter. They're made in the UK, the Dunlops they're using this year. And it'll just be interesting with a harder compound. Maybe it will come into play. Normally, in a race where you've got 3 races in a day, the last race, the Dunlops will be in a pound seats because they're a hard compound. But here, it's going to be, go for it, AJ. It's going to be later in the evening, so the temperature will be down. So I think Dunlops might be having a bit of trouble.
Well, if you have a look back, only a few car lengths behind this battle, Peter Brock is now starting to come into the equation. Brocky is looming in the background. There is Perkins just coming over the hill into the Shell S's. So Larry not too far off the pace either. He started in 12th position. So that's a great effort to work his way up into 7th. Positions haven't changed. It's still Murphy, Gardner, Seaton, Scaife, Jones and Brock. Of course, this, as you've heard Barry Sheen allude to, this is Peter Brock's 200th touring car start. Someone's gone wide.
Somebody got a bit wide there.
Ian Palmer, I think it was, in the number 20 machine. And Barry, an interesting point. Brocky started his career here at Calder Park 20 years ago. Or, sorry, 200 races ago in 1972. That's when his teammate Greg Murphy was born.
Oh, dude, that's the sort of thing when you get an old boy like me. You think, oh, yeah, I love to hear that. That's really nice. But you got to add it to Brocky. You know, there was a picture in the paper of Brocky in 72 and Brocky now, you know, and apart from the long barnet, the long hair and everything, I mean, facially, he's very little different.
There is the Ford Credit Falcon of Glenn Seaton, currently sitting in third position. Hasn't been able to bridge the gap all that much between himself and Wayne Gardner. There is one of the back markers caught in the middle of those two. We watch Mark Scaife now in the Coopers, and Lybrand Commodore has driven very well to hold off Alan Jones. Let's watch Peter Brock at work in the Mobile. 05 Commodore.
Just have a little look behind, look in the side. That was interesting, then. It looked like he was looking for something. I don't know, didn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, good on a break.
It's always good to watch Peter at work, though. It's always a very animated face, and he works very hard behind the wheel.
The brakes. Look how much he's caught up on AJ.
Up and over the hill they go. Whoa! That's Stevie Richards.
Oh, dear
Mark
me.
Poole as well. They have gone right off. That was Mark Poole and John Faulkner. Oh, no.
Oh, dear me.
So Faulkner, Mark Poole and Stephen Richards all victims in that first corner. Time is running out. We only have 5 laps remaining in the opening race of 3. Alan Jones has got to make his move soon.
Stenican got right out of the way then. You know, there's nothing worse than somebody that's getting laps sticking in the way, and you've got to hand it to Stenican. He, you know, saw him in his mirrors and just got out of the way.
Well, that's something, as much as people say, oh, the back markers get in the way, it's pretty hard for them because they're watching their mirrors all the time.
The point is, you know, the track is only so big, you can't always get out of the way, but I have to say some people do sort of spend more time in the way than they do in the hunt.
Barry, I just got a quick glimpse on that previous shot. It looked like Steve Reed's car on the Lansvale Smash Repairs car on the side of the track, so not quite sure what the problem is there. Here is the Shell Helix race update for you. Murphy, Gardner, Seaton, Scaife and Jones. Still your top 5 runners. The placings haven't changed.
Oh, down the end. Oh, look, that could not be, could it? There was somebody off on the grass there. See there. And I don't know whether it was my imagination. No, it's not.
Someone running wide.
No, it was just run wide, and about the time that he ran wide would have been the time that Greg Murphy was going past, but I've just seen him go past. It's not him.
Well, they come across the strike. We've got 4 laps left in this one as Mark Scaife goes around the outside of one of our younger competitors, Darren Hossack, the karting champion, stepping up into the V8 Supercar category. We're on our way home. We watch Dick Johnson, courtesy of the Shell Helix in-car camera, hard at work. Johnson currently is sitting a little way back in 13th position.
Yeah, well, DJ definitely won't be happy with that. Major JB, John Bowers in 10th position.
They've done well. They started 13th and 14th, respectively. Bow and Johnson, so they've worked their way up.
I'm surprised that Longhurst is down in 9th position. I was talking to him earlier on. He said, look, I've got the best car I've had for ages, and you know, he thought he was really in with a good chance if he could get a good start.
Greg Murphy comes across the strike. He only has 3 more laps left to run, and in his debut Shell Australian Touring Car Drive, he will get his first win, which is a pretty impressive effort. Paul Romano just circulating behind him there, and John Trimble, the Bottle Magic entry.
You'd have to say, judging by last year and this first race of the season, that the HRT lot do definitely have their act together, don't they? There's, when you go around and have a look at it, every little thing, you know, they've every little thing is under control. You get the feeling you go in there as an air of confidence, you know, from all the mechanics, team manager, everybody, and not to say the least, you know, Brocky and Greg Murphy.
Well, both of the New Zealand races at the end of last year's season in Auckland and Wellington, Greg didn't win every race, but he won both rounds and was very successful. He was literally the new hero of New Zealand, just gained so much popularity from some tremendous driving over there, and he's continuing that good form. We watch Wayne Gardner in the Coca-Cola Commodore sitting in 2nd position. That's where he started from. and that's where he, I would say, will remain, Barry, and he's done very well to maintain that position.
Well, he has. You know, one thing that Wayne wants to do, he's not going to get himself in any trouble this week, is he? Look, you know, as I said, I really feel sorry for him because he got that shrapnel that wasn't deserved, and you know, to get a decent couple of results under your belt, and people start forgetting about things like that. Then
they are on their way to receive the last lap board. Well, there's going to be two very delighted people in Greg Murphy and Wayne Gardner if things remain as is. Gardner deserves to get some good results as Greg Murphy comes over the strike down the main straight. He is now on his way home, stucking up the inside of Terry Finnegan there. Murphy is on his last lap.
He's still not sort of taking it really easy. He's got a good lead, but you saw it just locking up the right front there as the weight goes over onto the left-hand front. And he was spectacular to watch in qualifying. Did you see him in qualifying? He was, you know, when he did his hot lap, it really looked like a hot lap. You know, there was smoke coming off tyres left, right and centre.
He's a very aggressive driver, very forceful driver. And
but when aggressive, forceful, but really keeps the thing on the island the whole time, and that's the thing that looks spectacular about it.
Well, what a start to 1997 for Greg Murphy. He makes his way up towards the finish line, and in his debut run, well done, Greg Murphy. He takes out race 1 here at Calder Park. Truly great effort by the young Kiwi. A really good drive to take the win. Gardner will remain in second spot in the Coca-Cola Commodore. Coming across the line, the lights on. Glenn Seaton remains in third position. Mark Scaife has done well to hang on to fourth, and Alan Jones will come in for fifth. Cars making their way across the line. It was a fairly, well, I was just about to say, Baz, a fairly uneventful first race, but there were a few.
Well, there were a few right at the beginning. It's the thing that really is sad in a way that you know, they're talking about having control tyres, etc., which means, for people that don't know, that everybody having the same tyres. And really, there you go. There's the top 5 for you is Greg Murphy, Wayne Gardner, Glenn Seaton, Mark Scaife and Alan Jones. You see there on the right-hand side of the respective numbers and the difference in the times. Peter Brock, Larry Perkins, Russell Ingold, Tony Longhurst and John Bow.
Once again, well done to young Greg Murphy. A terrific drive to get a win in his debut run in the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. We've just completed Heat 1 of Round 1 of the 1997 Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. With me is a hot and sweaty Wayne Gardner. Wayne's second place there after all the dramas at Albert Park just a week ago. That must be a good result for the team.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Obviously, it's good to be on the winners' rostrum, and it's been 3 years of sort of, you know, countless effort. But yeah, I'm really pleased for the team. You know, now I'm on Yokohama's. I've got something really to work with now. They're really good tyre, and you know, if this is the start of the season, it's looking pretty good for the rest of the year. So, no, I'm very happy.
There's a tyre change. When you change a brand of tyre, I guess a lot of people at home wouldn't understand how significant that is from the driver's seat. Does it really change the feel of the car?
Yes, it does. You know, tyres are like baking a cake. You've got to put all the ingredients in and come up with, you know, a special formula. And, you know, whether compound construction or sidewall thickness, etc., etc. And, yes, since I've got these new tyres last week, I've had to just keep chasing the car and keep making the car better and better and better. I haven't got the car right yet, but it's good enough, obviously, for a second, but I need to keep working with it. But it's not just a series of just changing a tyre. You've actually got to change the springs and the shocks and everything else actually to go with it. So it's quite a hard effort to get it all there.